All right, let me see. Everybody's 99%, 99%, 100%. Eric Rivers, 101%. That guy always gives more than 100%. And
Man,
Andy's at 100%, and Jason Fry is sideways. But hey, if you can defy gravity, I'm
Well,
good with it.
my phone's about to die,
Um,
so I had to plug it in sideways.
3, 2, 1, 0, 0.
You're listening to the Knives Templars.
Get ready, y'all. We about to Bobby Boucher you. Bam!
I got a piece off of the wagon that Sam Houston used to take JFK to the moon.
Pinto sauce. I like that. Pinto sauce.
Pinto sauce.
You're tuned in to the Knives Templars podcast, featuring Odisir Special Sauce Pinto.
I was a mean kid.
Long-time listener, first-time caller. Eric T.R.E. Rivers.
Holy crap, I built something.
Don the Train Watson.
Never slap a man in the face chewing tobacco.
Joey the Riot Terrier.
Cochon de lait will make you smack your lips and anyone getting too close to your plate.
Luke Beerslinger Berry.
I know there's a certain look that I'm trying to go for.
And Chip Shegman Carlisle. And now broadcasting alive, it's the Knives Templars. Coming to you live from Forecast Studios located in Hartselle, Alabama and other U.S. locations. This is the Knives Templars podcast. We are the coolest knife-making podcast on the planet, and we are downloaded around this big blue marble in over 24 countries. We are on air, on demand, and heard worldwide in all of your favorite apps and at knivestemplars.com.
Hey guys, welcome to the Knives Templars, the 19th episode. We're in season 2, and I am so excited to have the team here. This is Chip Carlisle, and we are one of the best podcasts for knife making out there on the intranet. If anybody tells you they're the best knife making podcast out there on the internet, you can believe them, because everybody makes good knife making podcasts, but I would like to think ours is the best. Anyway, tonight we've got Eric Rivers from the Rivers Experience. Hey, Eric.
what's up?
Hey, buddy. And we've got Don Watson from Don Watson.
Hello.
Hey, Don. How's it down there in Florida? Chilly?
A bit cooler, not bad. It's been real nice.
All right. Don's our resident weatherman just because he lives in Florida. Luke Berry from Berry Blades Works with his new microphone and computer, and it got it all worked out. How you doing, Luke?
I'm doing well. Hope all you listeners out there can hear me loud and clear now.
You sound perfect. Listen at you.
Man.
What was it last week that we couldn't figure out, and we finally you were connecting through the app and not the computer.
Yeah, I'm supposed to be the technical savvy one of the group, but it's quite the opposite. I had no clue what I was doing.
Sometimes we just have to help each other. And I am excited to say we've got Mr. Jason Fry back with us again tonight. He is coming to us from Texas, and he's with Fry Custom Knives, and we gave him an honorary anytime you want to host on this show just because you're one cool dude.
Well, thank you.
And he's back with us.
All doing very well.
Sir?
Doing very well.
Good. Been following you across the internet. It looks like your youngers are getting older and you're doing exciting things. So we'll hear about that a little bit tonight. But hey, before we get started, I do want to tell you we've got the Pops Maker's Mark series again tonight. We're going to have a special person in here, and I'm going to keep it a secret because he's very special. We've known him for about a year now, and I'll give you one little hint. He's from Michigan. And he makes some of the most beautiful knives I've ever seen. So, and he's way too humble about it. But hey, guys, you want to hear what's on the menu tonight? You know what we're going to be eating tonight?
What's on the? What's the word on the menu? Yeah.
What's on the menu?
What's up? What are we in? What's in shop for us?
All right.
Well, what is it?
I have a main course of the beer review. Been testing some beers this week. I was over in Georgia and found a nice little craft beer I enjoyed over there, all the way from Florida of all places, but it was a good beer. Luke, well, next time I'm over there, I'm going to have to visit your brewery and we'll have to do a field review.
Of course, yeah. We have some quality brews over at Brazelton Brewing.
Yes, I'm sure you do. And also, we have some knife news for a little side dish. You want to hear some knife news tonight, guys? got some stuff
Yes.
concerning concealed carry. And what is the term for constitutional carry? Everybody that's a constitutional carry person, raise your hand. Anyway, we're going to talk a little bit about constitutional carry. And on top of that, they have announced the winners this week from the YouTube Makers. Is it the YouTube Makers Challenge?
It's just YouTube. Yeah, we'll call it the YouTube Makers Challenge. That's pretty much what it is.
Is that what it is? Come on, help me out here. Help me out here.
Because it was the YouTube Knife Makers Challenge, but we kind of make a little bit of everything nowadays. I mean, one guy made that whole gauntlet with the claws and all that. So, yeah.
And the whip sword. We'll talk about that. But anyway, hey, listen, after that, we've got some questions. We've got the Maker's Mark, as I mentioned. We're going to have a gentleman from Michigan with us. And we've got a little bit of group discussion to take place. And I'm not even telling the guys what we're going to talk about because I want to hit you cold and let you give me your best shot on the questions that have been submitted. So anyway, if you stick with us, we'll be right back. We're going to hear from our friends over at Ameribraid Grinders and Accessories. Be right back.
Hey listeners, let's take a moment today to thank one of our sponsors for today's show, and that sponsor is Ameribraid Grinders. Eric and Kevin over at Ameribraid have sold thousands of these grinders, and they are super nice guys, and their customer service is excellent. I would know. I've been personally using their 2x72 grinder now for 2 years, and it has changed my knife making to a whole new level. So if you're in the market for or looking to upgrade from that 1x30 or 2x42, then give Ameribraid a look. There you'll find they have 3 packages of grinders to offer. They have a Mastery package, a Foundations package, and a Get Grinding package, in which all of them come at different price points. So I'm sure you'll find something that'll suit your needs as a knife maker. Also, Ameribraid has a ton of innovative attachments for their grinders. So listeners, you can find out about all of this at www.ameribraid.com. Go give them a look, see what they have to offer today. And now, back to the show.
Hey guys, welcome back. Hey, as we get started here, Luke, you are a beer slinger, bartender, bar
Knife
back.
maker.
No. I'm talking about your second job.
I'm a little bit of everything at the brewery. I manage, I bartend, I serve. I just kind of help out in any ways that I can.
Do they let you stomp the hops?
No, I'm not the grape lady, if y'all are familiar with that video.
I am familiar with that video. Yeah, I remember that was funny.
That's not me.
But I'm old enough to remember when Lucy was and Ethel were stomping in the grape, so you probably don't know who Lucy and Ethel are, do you?
I do not. Never heard of her.
All right, well, I'll have to entertain you later. Hey, listen, guys, the beer that had is called the Funky Buddha Floridian Wheat Craft Beer. So I figured it said Funky Buddha. How could you not want to drink a Funky Buddha? Funky Buddha on the front of the can. So I grabbed me a Funky Buddha. And here's what it says on the back of the can. It says Funky Buddha is an unfiltered and pleasant German-style wheat beer. And I love German beers. They have a good, full flavor. And instantly they say full of flavor, but light on the palate. This Florida beer is made exactly with natural ingredients. Authentic Hefeweizen. Did I say that right? Any Germans in the group here? Hefeweizen.
You said it right.
All right, I listen at you. Yeast, and this gives the Funky Buddha compelling aromas of bananas, citrus, and cloves. A hazy golden color reminiscent of a Florida sunset complements the full flavor of this unfiltered beer. Pour this slightly bitter wheat beer into a Weizen glass. It's a Weizen, Weizen, I think. And pair it with a mild or sharp goat cheese, arugula salad, and lemon vinaigrette, grilled shrimp, beer battered onion rings with a spicy aioli.
Aioli.
Y'all have had that before?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
You get them all kinds of places.
Huh. Well, not in Hartselle, Alabama. Whole wheat crust pizza, honey drizzled baklava. I know what baklava is. have some Greek people in my family. Whether it's the quality of the ingredients, the caliber of the beer, or just watching a breathtaking Florida sunset, Funky Buddha is about creating an enlightening experience through the craft beers. Funky Buddha Brewery, Oakland Park, Florida. Iola. What is that? Explain it to me.
Aioli?
Isn't it like
It's
a sauce?
Yeah, it's a sauce.
Yeah.
You put it on burgers. You put it on all kinds of stuff. It's aioli sauce.
Am I that backwoods that I just don't know what aioli is?
It kind of cracks me up because you're drinking a craft beer and don't know what an aioli sauce is.
I was eating Pringles and pretzels and almonds all crammed into a bowl.
I mean, you're drinking a Florida Buddha German beer.
I know, but my number one snack out in the shop is I throw a handful of pretzels, a handful of Pringles, and a handful of almonds in a bowl. And if I got cashews, a few of those make it in too, and then I drink that with a beer. So
see, and you dip those in an aioli sauce.
I have to go find this, but I'm going to tell you. Here's what I thought about it. It was a really good light beer. It's similar to a Blue Moon, but not as off the shelf as Blue Moon. Just kind of that flavor. It was real good quality. It was full of a fruity flavor. So if you like a fruity beer, Luke, you like fruity beers?
Not in particular.
That's because you drink Miller High Life.
Well, as of lately, I've been on a Dunkel train. I love a dark German lager.
Okay, well, it's good. You're stepping up. But the Funky Buddha, I really think it's great IPA for virgins of IPAs, because IPAs to me they're hit or miss, and honestly, with all the fruit and stuff, they're okay, but I don't like to overdo it. It was a really good beer because it was a blast. Of had some grapefruit in it as well, kind of when you tasted it. So I really felt like I was drinking a fruit salad. A beer fruit salad, but honestly, it had a good taste. So if I was just out enjoying a beer and maybe warm day, tired, it kind of hit the mark, and there's always kind of a place for that. But for me, on the beer scale, hey, we got to be able to rate beers. How do you rate beers? I give it.
Always a 1 out of 10 scale. I mean, that's kind of standard.
1 out of 5, but what are we going to give it? Like 5? It's like 2 snaps and a twist. I don't know.
I mean, I guess whatever floats your boat, but I typically go out of 10.
No. 1 out of 5. When people get too decisive, I'm thinking we call it hops. 1 to 5 hops instead of 1 to 5 stars. I give this 3.5 hops. So would I buy it again? I don't know, but there is a beer that I'm on the quest to find for the next episode of the Knives Templars. It's called Florida Man. Don, can you find a Florida Man?
Florida Man?
Well, not you. I want you to find.
He wants to drink a Florida Man. Okay,
you
gotta help him.
Don't go
there
this week.
Frosty glass of Don.
Florida Man.
Don, there is a beer called Florida Man. That's your job.
I'll see what I can do.
To go find the beer. Go find the beer called Florida Man. Everybody's looking on their phones right now. Florida Man. it actually has high ratings. I just haven't been able to find one yet. So that's the. But anyway,
on a 3.5, I don't know if you would question purchasing it again at a 3.5. I feel like that's like a 2 or a 2.5 if you're questioning it, because a 3.5 is over halfway there. You know what I mean?
See, I just like to drink. I just like to,
and you got to travel for it.
I just like to drink 5s, I guess.
3.5 is technically a passing score. That's a 70%. So you're right there.
That's like I would go and get this again.
Back to the 1 out of 10 scale.
2.9. 2.9. Hey guys, I'm not. Yeah.
You gotta watch the pizza reviews. The Everybody Knows the Rules one.
Yeah.
With Dave Portnoy.
Yeah.
Where he talks about those. Once you hit a certain point, that's where you go and get it again. Whenever you get to a certain point, that's the one you travel for.
Yeah.
And then when you get to a ridiculous numbers, it's like there's no better than that.
I wouldn't drive across the street to buy this again.
That's a 2.5.
Okay. And at 5.2%, You know what I'm saying? Just not there with it. So, but it has a great name, Funky Buddha Floridian Wheat Craft Beer. Go get you a Funky Buddha and try it. See if you have the same opinion, guys. Love to hear some feedback. Knife news. Eric, we ready to do some knife news?
I'm ready to do some knife news. Absolutely.
So, welcome to this week's knife news. And I want to let you guys know some news that we got out of the state of Ohio. And Ohio is one of those divisive states where things you just never know what's going to take place. Who was it? Joe the plumber was there at one point in time in the way back when. And but there's always something crazy going on in Ohio. I used to live in Michigan, and my friend Andy, who's I gave the name away, but Andy waiting in the background here, he all knows about Ohio because he's probably a Michigan fan, not a big sports fan, but he knows about the rivalry with the state of Ohio. But let's see what Ohio's got themselves into. Oh, Columbus, Ohio, they have a new law taking effect that has taken effect now, and it's establishing uniform rules for carrying knives across Ohio to prevent municipalities from enforcing local regulations. Uh, Proponents say the bill's sponsor, Senator Christina Rogner, a Republican from Hudson, said that varying regulations create confusing patchwork of laws that are tough to follow and enforce. Her legislation restricts local regulations on knife carrying, but doesn't change the type of knives the state allows people to carry. So what I guess I kind of understand from it is that while they may have that you can carry a variety of knives, you can cross a street into another city, and the rule changes there based on that, and all of a sudden you're breaking the law. So in committee hearings, Democrats question the need for the mostly Republican-backed bill. Here we go again, right down the middle, because people don't want to deal with common sense. So I'll just won't use too many names here because I don't want to give anybody. I just don't want to get political. But the Representative Tavia, I'll leave it at that. The Democrat asked whether a change in law was necessary if no data exists to show a patchwork of knife regulations is a problem in Ohio. Of course, it's a problem because we have states' rights. I understand that, but city rights, I don't know about those existing anywhere. And again, just crossing the road and all of a sudden breaking the law on something would be crazy. But their Republican governor, he signed the bill in June. It takes effect. It's in effect right now, this past month, and it's similar to one they passed in Arizona, who had something very similar. So it effectively locks in a law that lets Ohioans carry concealed weapons now. The list of weapons allowed for manufacture, sale, and concealed, including brass knuckles, billy clubs, blackjack, sandbags, switchblades, spring blades, gravity knives, and similar weapons, are all considered concealed carry. So I guess why that caught my eye when I thought about it is because I recently went out and renewed my concealed carry permit for my firearm. And of course, the state of Alabama, we're a constitutional carry state, and that also carries over into our knives as well because we don't have any rules on what you can carry. The only rule that we have, if you have a knife that's considered a Bowie knife, and they don't really define what a Bowie is, that you're not allowed to keep that concealed. You must wear that on the outside, but outside of that, sky's the limit. And we don't have knife violence or anything like that or anything. But I guess for you guys, what do you think about constitutional carry and it applying to knives? I mean, any thoughts?
Yeah, this is Jason. I was thinking we had a similar scenario in Texas back in 2017, I believe. Texas, of all places, the Bowie knife was also illegal to carry.
Yeah.
And so through the work of the folks at Knife Rights, they got a similar law that you're discussing passed in Texas so that there are now no knives that are categorically illegal.
Yeah.
I like that. I mean, Second Amendment is right to keep and bear arms, right? Well,
That's right.
That's right.
Sure,
That's
your
right.
knife is sure a defensive tool if you need it.
Yeah.
So,
and that's the second
right there squarely under the Second Amendment.
Yeah, it's the second bullet I had down here was knives are clearly among arms, which are protected by the Second Amendment. And, what drives me crazy and we're all, we tend to lose our common sense as a society. that, and I don't want to get into any type of violence, this, that, and the other, but we know anybody attacked with a knife is typically a steak knife or a butcher knife, right?
Correct. Yeah.
Yeah, somebody running down the street or somebody gets mad in the house, grabs a steak knife and kills somebody. It's never a knife like we make. Now we do make steaks and butcher knives sometimes, but typically those are going to be specialty items that most of us kind of guys don't do. But you think about it when you go online. I'm going to go down a road here, but when you go online and try to buy a knife from a guy like me, I can't sell it to you through PayPal. I can't sell it to you through Square. They kick me off because my name Knives was in my. I didn't know the difference. My name Knives was in my company name, and all of a sudden their computer picked that up and said you were gone forever. So the interesting thing is when I sat and read about it, it says anything considered weapons, and when I read their designation of a weapon, it was just knife. Knife is a weapon, and I'm thinking to myself, but my knives don't ever hurt anybody. Uh, you got to go back and look at the crime sheets, and if we're selling all those steak knives and everything out there, that's what's contributing to violence in the neighborhoods and the homes. But anyway, I digressed. I'm glad to see a law like this passed. I'm glad to see common sense coming back into America, and I'm glad that Ted Nugent is as sane as I've always thought that he was. So rock on Ted Nugent. I don't know how I got there, but I like Ted Nugent. So Andy's giving us a thumbs up from Michigan there. Andy's a Ted Nugent fan too. So hey, that's the knife news. You guys got any news? Anything on the lion killer front there, Luke Berry?
Yeah, so I should have said something about this on the last podcast, but this upcoming Friday, a week from today, there will be a winner of what we call the Lion Killer Challenge. Now, this was hosted by a Facebook group called, I believe it's Knife Maker or Beginners and Experts, something Knife Makers, something like that. Knife Makers, Beginners and Experts. It's a big page.
I've seen this. Yeah.
They posted a challenge saying that the best lion killer made by the deadline being next Friday will be on the front page of their 2023 banner and also get a $250 Pops gift card. So we've had a bunch of people submitting pictures of their lion killers, trying to show what they're made of, show what kind of a maker they are. And so far we've had some pretty knives turned in to the challenge. But I have one here myself that I'm working on. I got my first billet of Damascus all squished out, and I'm trying to get this done in the next week. I just got my tang tapered today.
But you can't win because you're a employee.
Yeah, it's a little bit of a conflict of interest. So this is just I call it a guideline for people to try to mimic,
follow you on your path.
Yeah, they have to try.
You're doing a great job.
Do something. I say it jokingly. There's so many people out there that are much better makers than I am. But even though it's not possible for me to win, I still want to put all of my effort into a piece that I can, be confident in. And so far, no hiccups in the road. It's coming along just great.
Well, I don't know anybody that would think that you were a fairly new knife maker. You do a wonderful job. You've got some wonderful mentors working around you, even outside of the business you work at. So you're coming along. If it's in DNA, your dad gave you some of your DNA. Speaking of your dad, though, man, he is quite the diplomat. I was watching the Pop site this week, and somebody said, "Can y'all quit posting the pictures of those lion killers? I'm getting tired of seeing it." Of course, I'm paraphrasing. And Mr. Dwayne Berry responded back politely, "No."
Yeah. I heard about the little battle between about the lion killer, and I haven't checked it out yet. But I heard it was a pretty spicy conversation. Yeah.
Well, I chimed in, and I guess you would have been proud of me, but I did plagiarize somebody because I heard that this guy on a talk show plagiarized another guy on that's a comedian, and but I thought it sounded so good I plagiarized them all, and it was like this. It says, if you walk into a town and there's a sign saying guitar lessons, and you look at yourself and you think, I don't want any freaking guitar lessons, then just ignore the sign.
Maybe
guitar
your
lessons aren't for you. Just look at it and keep on walking. So But I did go to the guy's site, and he makes beautiful knives. He just wasn't a big fan of the Lion Killer. But I tell you what, I am, and I know many people are because we see a ton of them being made. And hopefully, Pops will have additional challenges like that. So if you'll let us know, go ahead.
I think there'll be more in the future. This is kind of our first build off, as we call it, from Pops. We've gotten a lot of really good positive feedback from the customers that are really enjoying it and think that it's something that we should continue doing. So if we ever find another knife with the history and the story behind it, like the Lion Killer, I'm sure it'll be something we'll be interested in and try to get our customers involved with.
Any idea we can have them able to do the Flesher challenge?
Now, unfortunately, I am just the muscle. All of the big important decisions are unfortunately not made by myself, but I'm down for any sort of challenge.
The Flesher challenge. You know what that is?
I do not.
That's a knife I made 642 of over a period of 3 days.
Oh,
a bunch
really?
of people that ordered them, and I was so sick of making those things. And then I'm making a new one right now, as a matter of fact, for somebody. I'm actually enjoyed it because a lot of time went by, and now I'm back to making a Flesher and enjoying them again. But anyway, you guys don't have to do the Flesher challenge, but I just think it's a cool knife, and I may get a $250 Pops gift certificate.
Maybe we could make a Knives Templars challenge.
That'll work.
Maybe we can.
Yeah.
And Luke can contribute a week's pay to the Pops gift certificate. Maybe we will have to come up with something.
Yeah.
Hey, episode 20, monumental. That means we're 1/5 of the way, all the way to 100. Maybe we'll come up with something next podcast and let them know. Eric Rivers has been politely waiting because tornado went through Wichita Falls and took him away, and now he's back on the ground and he's connected. You back with us, Eric?
Yeah. I'm here.
Is it windy in Texas tonight?
Yes, it's
It's
really
always windy in Texas, but yeah, you just went out on us there. But I will tell you now that you're back, I'm going to edit the video out, so edit the audio out, so that when we hear this, people won't hear that first kamikaze that you did into the information superhighway. But you froze up, you locked up with your mouth and your eyes at a really weird angle. You look kind of like an anime character. So
I took a ton of pictures. I have video. I have evidence. Yeah.
We quietly sat here and laughed at you while you were just frozen on the screen. So now you're back and you look like your normal self.
That is hilarious.
So let's jump back in, and we don't have to jump back in. Let's just start over. Tell us about the YouTube Knife Makers Challenge, because it was exciting this time, even more so to me than last time. I loved all of the creativity. So tell us about it.
Yeah, it was definitely a challenge that was all about creativity, man. It was something else. The challenges that we've done before were all based on a particular style of knife, whether it be a Bowie knife or a chef's knife or something like that. Like, each one of them were dedicated to a style of knife. So you have certain, parameters to kind of base your design on and things like that. With the fantasy challenge, it really pushed everybody out of their comfort zone and made them actually try and make something really, really, really crazy and off the wall. And that's hard for a few makers, because some makers have been doing everything in their power to perfect perfection and, making sure everything is crisp, clean, measured, and perfect, and no gaps and all these things. And then you try and have them make some crazy fantasy build. It's hard for them to be able to go outside the box when they've been working so hard to perfect everything inside the box. And it was a cool challenge, because you have people that think of fantasy knives or just fantasy builds in so many different ways. And you had people making crazy knives that had two blades and a random poker thing built into it. You had, of course, people making the gauntlet with the claws. You had people making knives that were based on video games and things like that. So it was definitely really cool. And I was surprised that I was able to, I was happy and surprised that I was able to get in the top 3. So when it comes to the particular people who placed on there, we had a group that was the builders, which was the main challenge people. There was originally going to be 20 of them. It ended up being, I think, 18 when it was all said and done. And the makers within that, half of the votes for their builds came from the viewers. The other half came from the judges. The judges consisted of basically the top 4 from the previous challenge, and would have also, had Jason Knight involved with that, but he ended up backing out of the competition, and because he had other things that that he was having to do with his new shop and all that. But it ended up being half the points were from the viewers, the other half are from the judges, and their builds were voted on. The top 4 in that were voted on by the people who were in the main challenge, and then you also had the viewers section. Now, when it came to the main part of the challenge, which was the 18 people, I'm going to go off with the top 4, and I'll tell you what, again, that's important here in a second. So out of the top 4, in 4th place, we had a PJT Forging, or PJT Forge. He was the one that made the gauntlet with the claws. That was a really cool build. He primarily does things like blacksmithing, where he'll make armor and do stuff like that. So it was just right up his alley. He's only ever made a few knives, so I think this was like the 3rd or 4th knife that he's made. And of course, it wasn't exactly a knife, but it did have 3 knives on it. So that was the 4th place person. And then 3rd place was yours truly, me. I was able to place 3rd in this one with my kind of World of Warcraft inspired build. And this was fun for me because even with all the challenges that we've done in the past, I've always put my own twist on them. I don't like making things exactly how people are going to make them, because whenever you have 18 people make basically the same exact thing, it gets very boring and monotonous to watch that many videos of the same thing over and over and over again. So I like to go outside the box. With this one, I had a lot of fun.
Your beer, no, stop. Your knife was number 1, and I'm not being partial. But I wasn't the only one voting. But I'm going to give you my address. You can still send that to me. I'll send you a can of Florida Man beer. Have you tried Florida Man?
I have not.
I just found out it. Oh, breaking news! I just found out while I was looking here that the Walmart in Hartselle, Alabama, sells Cigar City mixed a mixed 4-pack of beers. One of them is a Florida Man.
Ooh.
Tomorrow night, a Florida
There
Man.
you go.
So I will send you a Florida Man in my I'll send you a Florida Man in my address for that knife. But it was gorgeous, and I know that I've interrupted you, but
It's all good.
that knife just can't go away to a shelf in your house. It was a gorgeous thing.
With the number of hours you have in hand sanding on it, it's a trophy in itself.
Yeah. It was
I will say
definitely
it should have at least
a pain.
It should have at least been number 2, based on the voting and everything. But we'll just leave it at that. No sour grapes or anything. Beautiful makers. It's a beautiful knife. Anyway, carry on.
So I had that place, and I definitely feel like I feel like I did the fantasy build justice. So I'm really happy with that. And the 2nd place person was Trollsky. He actually got the most overall viewer points and all that. So he got that right off the bat. I think like within the first 2 days he had like 1,400 people voted for his. So he was 50% of the voting pool, and he was just one of the makers. All of the other makers made up the other 50% of the pool. So you had people at like 1%, 3%, 2%, 4%, and that's how made up everybody else. And he was at 49.5%.
And he had a beautiful knife, but you know what? He's got a healthy large following. Yeah.
He's got a very healthy, very loyal following, and he was even surprised because he felt like he put the work in, but he didn't feel like he should have been where he was at. You know, he's a very humble person, easily one of the nicest people on the planet. He is super, super, super awesome. And so
I agree.
He got second, and the person who got first was the Nord artisan, Sven. That build that he did was absolutely crazy. The whip sword. Now, the hard part for him is this is his first viral video. You know, he went from, you know, channel grew, everything went crazy, you know, 500% increase on his channel, all that stuff. And it was, it's something else. But kind of what happened with his is he got a flood of amazing comments, but he also got a flood of people just trolling the hell out of him. It was crazy. The amount of negativity in that comment section just kind of blew me away because, you know, it's a whip sword. It's like the least realistic thing that you can possibly make that actually makes sense on a sword.
But it was fantasy.
It is very fantasy. When it comes to whip swords that are out there, it's one of the best built versions of it that you could possibly do. But when it boils down to it, every single time you put a segment in between steel like that, and then you put it over the length of a blade, there's no way for there to be any rigidity unless you figure out a way for everything to interlock like they're a Lego as it pulls together. That's one of the only ways that you can do that. But the fact that he was able to create this without like, you know, $100,000 in CNC machinery and all that is mind-boggling. I mean, if you watch the video, some of the hardware that he's putting together is like him drilling through like bolts and stuff like that and making his own little hardware. And what one of the things that I think is crazy is a couple of these people who did these builds, you know, they live over in Germany. In certain places over there, you can't touch work stuff on like Saturday, Sunday. Like you can't mow your lawn, you can't work in your shop, you can't make noise with grinders, tools, hammers, nothing. That stuff goes away.
God bless America.
Yeah. So it is really hard for him to just sit there and do this stuff because you're having to do it during the weekdays and also have a job. And so the fact that he was able to pull this off with that much engineering and none of the typical tools that you would use like CAD and CNC machines and all these things, it just blew me away. But I told him right off the bat, I was like his fourth comment on his video because in the first like 2 days, I think he might have got like 200 views because his channel was so small. You know, he had a very small channel and he only had like 200 views. And I put on there in the comment section that this video needs to be at 1 million views ASAP. And whatever we got to do to make that happen, it needs to happen because again, the video was awesome. The fact that he was able to pull off this thing that I can even wrap my brain around how it was put together is crazy. And he did it in like the half of a 1-car garage in a place that he couldn't even work on it when we were working on our builds. It was crazy. And of course, you know, he got his 1 million views, got his first viral video. But again, it's kind of hard because whenever you've never really had that viral, like, amount of views. Yes, the experience. Yeah. It's really hard because you go from you know, getting
got
maybe
excited again.
100 comments on your video.
Back.
Yeah. So you go from getting like 100 comments, not even 100, probably 15 comments on a video, 20 comments on a video to like 3,000, 4,000, 5,000 comments on a video. You're bound to get just an absolute enormous amount of negative, crappy people that are going to go on there.
Well, you got to expect that. And you just froze up on us again. That's why we were making fun of you. There he goes again. But you're back and you're fine now. But the interesting thing is I know that feeling because on my last video I dropped, I'm up to 39 views, and some guy named Odisir Pintos gave me a thumbs up. So I mean, I feel that pressure. I know exactly.
That's all you can ask for.
Yeah. And his comment was, "Go pinto sauce," because he knows pinto sauce.
go pinto sauce.
I will tell you that Odisir is on a trip with his wife tonight, so he's not with us. But we mentioned pinto sauce on 19 out of 19 episodes now, so we're good. Just gotta get
yes, we have.
Go ahead, Eric. Go ahead.
He's here at heart.
Yeah,
always here at heart. Whenever, so he got first place, and when it came down to the judges pool, which was, Dennis Tyrell, Ailey Knives, Aaron over there, and then Blackbeard, and we had another one that was Insick Ailey. He did an amazing build, but couldn't really participate because of family stuff. So hopefully one day we'll be able to see his video. And it was, the view or the people that participated in the main challenge voted for what we thought was the best along them. And Dennis ended up winning that particular thing. So he's going to be in the judges pool in the next challenge. But the cool thing is the top 4 from the main people in the main challenge are going to be competing against Dennis as judges in the next challenge. So I'll be in the judges pool competing with Dennis, with the PJT Forge, with Sven, and with Trolsky. So Trolsky will be coming back for another challenge, which is going to be really cool. And we're going to be doing choppers, which is going to be awesome.
That's
we had
cool.
3 different things. Yeah, we had 3 different things that people could choose from, which was a samurai challenge, chopper challenge, or a spear challenge. And the chopper challenge
they didn't even consider
barely
the petty knife.
edged out the samurai.
No.
The petty knife. But it's going to be really cool. I've already got my design kind of in my head. I'm going to try and do something that, again, I don't think that anybody else is going to do. And I'm going to, y'all will get to see it. Yeah, well, y'all will see it before anybody else sees it because I'll put it in the little group chat that we have. But it's going to be kind of complicated.
Patiently awaiting.
Some people, it's going to be cool. It's a play on a kukri, but it's going to be able to chop wood. So
good.
I'm talking about like logs, not.
I'm sorry, I'm cutting you off, but there's a little bit of a delay. You need to do a play on like Orange County choppers and do like a Polly or Polly Jr. type chopper.
Literally, it's a knife with wheels and a motor.
Yeah.
So
yeah, it's a real chopper that looks like a knife.
I don't know if if you got the exact thing that we were going for, but yeah, sure. No. So we're gonna be doing choppers.
Speaking of the exact thing we're going for, I tell you what, I was working on a knife today, and I got the exact look I was going for because I used some of Oleg's wood from knife-wood.com. And I know everybody on here is a big proponent and a lover of Oleg's work. He, just so you guys know, he's got a new warehouse and he's shipping out of Philadelphia, Pennsylvania, USA. So if you're anywhere in the 8 states and maybe a little bit beyond, go to knife-wood.com and take a look at what Oleg's got to offer. Some of the best stabilized and most beautiful wood products I've seen out there. People just love them on their knives. Take a look, knife-wood.com. All right, Eric. Any last comments on that? I'm sorry, Oleg was chomping at the bit.
No, it was. I was really happy to participate in the challenge. I've been able to participate in every challenge that we've done so far, and it's gonna be really cool being part of the judges in this next one. I personally really like to compete against all of the makers. That's one of my favorite parts of it. So it's gonna be really cool. But if I'm gonna be part of the judges section, I need to make something epic, 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 and I'm going to do my best at it.
Yeah.
And we're gonna see how that goes. Hopefully, I do this particular build justice, and I think everybody's gonna like it though. But when it comes to the viewers section, the guy who won that goes by Smitty Tut on Facebook.
Very
That
nice
bad
knife,
boy
yeah.
was crazy. The sword that just pieced together like a dang Lego puzzle. It was unreal. He is a excellent craftsman, and the interesting thing with him is he'll tell you that he doesn't think of himself as a knife maker. He does CAD and CNC and does all kinds of stuff for a living, and he made something that was absolutely epic. And for me, the sword build was cool, but what was crazier was the sheath that he made for the sword. Like, I couldn't even wrap my head around how he made the sheath. It looked like it just came into existence and just happened to just fits that sword,
Yeah,
because
yeah.
it almost clicks into place with how it fits. And then the layers that he did, I mean, he might as well just be a leather worker, because that sheath was absolutely insane. And again, I couldn't imagine
I
how
think
he
that
designed it.
I think Eric Rivers needs an intervention because it appears that he's been addicted to knife porn now.
Yeah. I mean,
it's exciting.
It's crazy.
Is there any possibility that a tuna cleaver could be considered a chopper?
Yes, actually. Of course.
All right. Well, I may have to. I'm going to be making a couple tuna cleavers next, so I'll have to see if I can't somehow turn that into chopper. I don't know. We'll see. Don't take my Paulie and Paul Jr. Thing now. I may have to go with that with the tuna cleaver.
Well, what I wanted to do was make everything a spear. I wanted to make everything a spear.
Yeah.
I told them I wanted to do the spear challenge, because that's something that people don't see every day on YouTube with people making knives. People see us making choppers. People see us making samurai style things, wakizashis, katanas, tantos, all that stuff. When do you see a bunch of people make spears like that?
Yeah, but
would have
nobody
been
wants to see
sick.
Nobody wants to see you in the post-production video where you're running around in a loincloth with cow dung beads hanging around your neck and a cowboy hat,
Everybody
chasing
wants to
things
see
around-
that. Don't
chasing
lie.
things around Texas.
Everybody wants to see that. I do that every Saturday from 5 to 6. Just
Let me go mark that in my schedule so I can fly all the way over to Texas just to people watch.
Just to, yeah.
So, hey, let's move on. I think we've got a lot of news this week, but let's find out, hey, what everybody's been up to, because everybody's sitting out there patient. Don, you've been quiet too. What's going on?
Busy, man. I've been liquidating a lot of my tools. Yeah,
busy retired. Liquidating your tools. Why would you do such a thing?
I'm totally getting out of the wood turning. And
okay.
I made a decision last week, and I ended up selling my big lathe, and I was going to get another small lathe, and just kind of go down. So, yeah,
like a mini lathe or something, like a jet mini,
and,
yeah.
And I decided, well, I need more space in my shop, so I said, you know what, I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to sell it all. Just shut that door,
right.
and I've been busy every day. People have been coming, buying. That's a good thing.
Yeah.
So I tell you, if you buy good tools, you'll be able to sell them.
Yeah, and that's kind of bittersweet, I guess, because you've bought good tools and you've got a history in that. When I started breaking up my fishing lure company and selling off tools and giving blanks and stuff away, it was kind of like letting go of something in the past that meant a lot to me. And while I still love to fish and everything, I quit fishing. I quit the lure company because I had no time to go fishing. So anyway, I can understand a little bit how you feel. So you've taken the money and gone out and bought a tire hammer?
No.
Hydraulic
really.
press? You didn't split it with your wife, did you?
No, I didn't.
Okay.
No, I'm going to feed my addiction in knife making. And
good.
No, I'll be able to sell I don't know. To be able to sell everything I got in my wood turning, I'll be able to buy any equipment I need for knife making here on out. So.
Oh, he's going to get a water jet.
No, that'd be nice. Yeah. That'd be really nice. I got some things. I just ordered a brand new 9-inch sander. I want to get a good one. And a disc sander. I'm sorry, a disc sander, and I got that on order. And there's a couple more things I want to get. So I need more room in my shop too.
Which one did you go with?
I went with True Grit. A True Grit. I got the 1 degree bevel, and I got the flat disc. And
good.
So good guys over there too. Real nice people over at True Grit. Really good people.
Where are they out of?
California.
And what's their website?
TrueGrit.com.
There you go.
Yeah, they're good people to work with.
That's plug.
Yeah, good product. Good people too, man. Really good guys over. So all I gotta do is now sit and wait.
And that's the hard part, isn't it?
I'm fixing to sell my big 12-inch disc sander tomorrow. I got a guy coming to buy it, so I said, well, I just have to use a 2x72 to get my scales right, like Eric does.
Yeah. What kind of abrasives are you going to use on that?
I'm sorry.
What kind of abrasives are you going to use on that?
Yeah, I'm going to use the probably the white line or the red line paper, Mendoza paper from Pops.
Yeah. Did you see Andy's post on Facebook this past week about the white line? Yeah,
that's a good idea right there. So
it's some serious paper. I really enjoy using it.
That's the whole thing about it. You can peel it off. Use the 3M product, peel it off, and put another one on, and plus it's variable speed. I mean, it won't. When you're doing micarta, it's real easy to burn, where you can dial this thing down, and it's going to be a blessing.
What's something like that set you back? What's their price range? Would you say? Not what you necessarily paid, but price range.
The sander's around, I think, $11.98, and I think I bought the other 1 degree disc. I think it was like $120, something like that, and you got your shipping and all that. So,
yeah, you got a sign for your shop?
A sign? No.
A sign on the front of your shop? You're gonna have to get one with all these fancy tools. You've gone Hollywood on us.
Well, I don't know about that, but no, it's.
Well, with all those nice tools, I just want to know when I see the building where it is after hours.
Yeah.
As you said.
Yeah, it's when you got all that nice stuff, just stay incognito.
I was talking to a friend of mine today, and he's seen all my belts. I got belts, and I think Luke's seen all them belts hanging up. And I said, if you're going to come in my shop, just steal all the belts. Don't worry about anything else, because I got more money.
It's the most expensive part. Yeah.
That's true. That's true.
For sure. Luke, what's been going on over at Berryville?
I finally got the go-ahead from the owners at Pops to be able to sell my blades on their website that they sell them on over at fiddlebackforge.com. It's the site that Andy started.
Monday drop or so?
Friday at 9.
Drop. Gotcha.
Yes, sir. So I'm gearing up to kind of give him the best possible work I can for my first drop, just to see how much traction I can get from the viewers.
Right.
So I'm gearing up for that. I have been telling myself that I need to save as much money as I can for another 2x72 for myself. I want to get a fastback. I need my own grinder. I use one of the demos we have at Pops, but doesn't feel the same. I need one that has Berry Blade Works on the side of it. And then also my own heat treat oven. I'm in the process of trying to get my own shop together and have ground zero for, my work. And it's not cheap.
Where are you going to put your shop at?
I'm currently working at McKenna's dad's shop.
Yeah. Will you be able to set up a space in there, or will you?
Yeah, there should be enough space. Like any other knife shop, it's already pretty crammed. But with some deep thought, we'll make it work. I mean, we got the press to fit in there, and that alone was like 4 more tools being added with just the amount of space it takes up.
But he'll probably like that, because if one of his tools breaks, he can just use yours until he gets his replaced. So
yeah,
that's how you sell it.
we've talked about trying to make a joint knife company together, making more economy line of knives.
What's his
And
last name?
Love, Love.
Would it be like Love Berry or Berry Love?
I believe
It's a shame his last name's. It's a shame her name's not McKenna White. Berry White Blade Works.
Yeah, it's a shame. It's gonna be the Smith. Is gonna be our name.
The Smith.
The Smith.
That's
correct.
a rock band. That's a rock band from the 80s.
There's no S. No
Okay.
S, not the Smiths.
You're smart. Listen at you.
Born in the wrong generation.
Yeah.
It's something we've been talking about for a while. We both connect mentally very well. We're really close friends. So
That's wonderful.
we'll see how it goes. But
What's
now
wrong
it's
with
just
like skookum knives? Because you live in North Georgia. Skookum knives.
that's a term I'm not familiar with.
Anybody here
Uncultured.
know what a
No.
skookum is? Skookum's a Bigfoot.
Oh, is it really?
Skookum knives. That's beautiful. But don't use my logo. I'm just saying skookum knives.
Hands off, laissez faire.
If I had it to go back again, I'd be skookum knives rather than Shegman Geneva. Nobody can spell that. So, have you been out deer hunting again or anything?
I have not yet. I have the fever again, mainly because I'm slowly running out of deer meat. I finished off all my backstrap. I have maybe half of a gallon Ziploc bag of jerky left. I made the bad decision of bringing it into the shop one day, and Mr. Roy decided that, wow, this is really good. Thanks for bringing it in, Luke. You're not going to have much left over in the next couple of days because
Well, you should have told him that was made from. You should have told him that was made from the buck marbles, and then he wouldn't ever touch
I
a deer
should
anymore.
have. I really should have because
That's
it was
La Cria Diaz.
this was my first batch of jerky that I made, solo by myself without Joey helping me out. Typically, it's something we do together. But I got the best compliment. He said it's delicious, and he said he couldn't have done better himself.
That's
so
wonderful. Just tell him you
must be
don't
doing
wash your
something
hands.
right.
Tell him you don't wash your hands before.
That's
you
what
make
it is. I kind of run my fingers through my hair, scratch my back a little bit, and
you
then
were proud. You were proud that they ate your concoction. That's wonderful.
I sat there and didn't really say much, but on the inside, I was throwing a fist bump up in the air. I was happy.
That's good. You're a creative and successfully creative kind of guy, so that's good. Now you just need to get a Mr. Brew and over at your house making your own brew. So that's good.
In the future.
Yeah, I wish I had your youth and all those years ahead of me. What you're doing with your life right now, your parents should be quite proud of you.
I appreciate
You just made
it.
one
Thank
new
you.
hairstyle. You're never going to get married with that hairstyle. Yeah. You look like an 80s episode of...
I got the mullet going. You can't be upset with it.
You should be jumping into like the General Lee with that thing on, man.
Listen, like you said, life is young. I just might.
Yeah, you're from North Georgia. That explains it. You're okay. You're a good guy. Hey, and I'm sorry I didn't get to have lunch with you or dinner with you. I got called away and could not do it at the last minute. So I will, next time I'm through there, I promise you I will. And I'll talk about what I've been doing. I'll catch you up on that. But next time for sure. Guys, this is how nice he is. I was racing over to Atlanta to do my daytime job this week. And as I looked at my GPS, it was like I'm not going to get there until like 10 minutes of 5, and it's
on Halloween.
Night, on Halloween. And it looks like we're closing at 4, but I'll stay here for you. And I'm like, you're like the nicest guy in the world. What you must think I'm something that I'm really not. So, meaning like a podcast owner or something. But you realize, Luke, this is only it's cheap. It's cheap.
Pleasure. Yeah,
it's just pleasure. Yeah, you're a good man. Hey, Jason, what's going on in Texas?
I've been so busy I turned off Christmas.
Yeah.
No, I found myself making a bunch of sabers, cavalry kind of sabers.
I saw all those laid out.
Yeah, so some friends of mine approached me. They were doing a big charity fundraising thing, and they wanted my sabers to be like the prize for the people that donated.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
Not another.
Oh yeah.
We have a man down.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, but look how he's frozen there with his mouth agape like that.
Yeah.
His eyes are kind of
getting
bugged.
good too.
Yeah, I know. Something about sabers and big donors.
I was excited for that.
And
I've yet to be on
he's
a
gone.
podcast.
And he's gone. So, well, I guess
Eric
I'll tell you what I've been
2.0.
up till he gets back. I'll tell you what I've been up to. Can we get through a podcast without all these drops?
Get a little bit of one of those.
So yeah,
the tornado moved on from Eric's and it hit over to Jason's.
Jason is coming back.
There he is.
So Jason, just have to tell you when you got a couple of audio files to upload tonight, so make sure both of them upload. But hey, we hear you were making sabers for big contributors.
Yeah. So yeah, I was making some sabers for the big guys at the charity drive I was doing, and I agreed to make about 4, and before they finished, the fundraiser went so good, and I think I'm making 8 or maybe 9.
Oh my goodness!
And I told them, I was like, guys, I'm already doing this at half price for you because I believe in the cause.
Yeah.
And so, to go from 2 to 10 is huge. It's impossible. It's just too much work. And so I told him, I said, to do that, I'm going to have to cut the complexity down. So it's not going to be fullers. It's not going to be basket hilts. It's just going to be D guards, and they'll be 24 inch or so instead of 33s.
Yeah. Is this the Save the Tree Chicken event?
No, this is I don't care about tree chickens. No, this is for the group that's promoting Texas independence through a legislative referendum. That's something I believe in. I work on a bunch of their projects, so they hunted me down to make swords.
That's good.
Well, don't mess with Texas.
No, definitely not. And we
Talking about an ultimate prize.
Yeah, we have the whole line in the sand thing from the Alamo. I mean, so that was why they picked sabers, because they wanted line in the sand kind of sabers. And so, yeah, here we go. So I'm making as many sabers as I can muster. And I'm also in the middle of a giant project out of stuff from the battleship Texas. I'm about 7 or 8 days in to forge welding this super crazy complex billet of stuff. It's got
Is this from the bearings or whatever? Was it bearings?
The gun turret bearings. I may have talked about that one of the other times.
No, it's fine. Yeah,
that I've been working on this. So I'm 8 solid work days in, so 5 months worth probably of time.
Wow,
so far, and I just got the blade welded the other day, so I finally got this rough ground heavy chunk of stuff. I need to spend another hour grinding, and then I'll try to heat treat it. And from there, it'll be easy.
Yeah.
But it's this huge multi-piece billet with gun turret bearings and battleship Texas side plate, and shrapnel from Okinawa, and I think I ended up with 6 different component billets, kind of welded together into one big pictorial kind of thing. So, so there you go. Yeah, that's what.
I know. Yeah, after that episode, we talked quite a bit about the historical materials, and I know Joey had come across some. What was the tree that he had? Who slept under that tree? Who ran from
Sam Houston tree?
That's what it was. It must have been some tree in his area. I'm not sure what it was.
Yeah, Joey, the Jim Bowie tree.
Yeah,
there was a tree that was in Jim Bowie's backyard or something silly like that. And we traded a piece. I sent him some of my Sam Houston, and he sent me a piece of Jim Bowie.
That's cool.
Yeah. Well, I don't have any project for it yet. We traded after that.
It's still cool. Cool.
The other big thing going, I've got my project with White River that I've been working on now for a while. I got my first run of knives from them back in May, and we're about to get our second drop in the next couple of weeks. So because I like making giant piles of sabers and crazy impossible battleships, I don't have time to make hunters, and hunters are what sells, right? And so I've contracted out with White River, and they're making my hunter design, and just got word today we're on target for a drop here in the next couple of weeks.
Good for you, man. That's great growth.
Lots of irons in the fire. Kids running around. Got one kid at boot camp right now for the Marines, and I got another one that just committed to the Air Force Academy for gymnastics. And
wow,
it's like nonstop chaos. That's what it is.
I was going to say you've been running all over, and then you got the twins running around too, right?
Exactly. I got kindergartners on top of those 2. joining the military. So yeah,
well, congratulations on
it's
your
a dadgum
son's
circus
success
every single day.
Yeah, yeah. Thank you for creating those soldiers to help defend our freedoms.
Yeah, we'll try.
Or did you just create them to help defend Texas when you succeed in the future?
We haven't quite negotiated
Succeeding.
that, honestly. I told them they could join the military if they didn't blow up Texas later.
Gotcha.
That we all agreed on that.
It's an even
Incidentally, Robert Lee and Ulysses Grant both went to West Point. So, I mean, I don't care who trains them, I guess. We'll just send them back, right? You know?
For sure.
We're all about nonviolence in that effort, by the way.
Well, the only good news that I've got to tell you guys over in Texas is that with my day job, I have been fortunate enough to pick up some locations in Texas. So here in the next coming months, I'll be taking some regular trips over there. Unfortunately, it's fortunate because I know the area. Palestine, Waco, and somewhere else. But how long does it take you to get down to Dallas, Eric?
About an hour and 45 minutes.
Oh, well, and then Waco is probably an hour below Dallas.
Waco takes me about, pretty much just say 4 hours.
4 hours?
Because of the work on the roads.
Oh, well, I'm going to make my way up to Wichita Falls one weekend. Sleep in your shop.
Come by the shop and hang out.
Yeah, you didn't even.
We'll forge
get a
some
note.
stuff.
You don't know. Poor old Chip will burn your shop down, and you'll have it on YouTube forever. Shop Talk Tuesday is the end of Shop Talk Tuesday. Chip just burned it all down. But yeah, I picked up those locations, and I'm still, petering away at making these knives. But so I am excited because I am getting ready to make what I call the tuna cleavers. They're just tuna. Fillet knives or cutting knives or whatever. You've seen the ones that the Japanese guys make. They're kind of half moon shaped, and you set and they just slice through the muscle groups and they'll take the skin off. And it's more of a convex type grind on them as well. And I'm still deciding because I don't want to disappoint Otis here whether I'm going to beat that 8670 with a hammer or not.
He would be very upset.
I know he'll be upset with me, but I was thinking about taking the pieces that I've gotten and then beating it down. But I'll make the decision. But that's coming up here in the next couple of weeks. Other than that, just getting ready to go back in the woods, but do some backpacking. But with all that being said, sounds like we've been quite busy. Eric, we got you on the Knife Makers Challenge. Anything going on real cool at the shop before we jump into Pop's Knife Supply Makers Mark?
No, I'm just having fun working on this forge series and, doing all these forge to finish knives and really practicing the hammer techniques. And I tell you, the hammering I kind of got down. The biggest thing that I'm learning right now is making sure that I pick the right amount of steel for the project that I'm going to be forging out. If I'm doing primarily everything by forging, so all the bevels, all the everything, the goal is to not waste material. Right. And if you overestimate the amount of steel that you're going to use, and one of the viewers that I had, he said, you know what, easiest way to do this is measure the weight of what you're planning on making. So measure, if you know that you're going to make a knife that's X amount size, you can easily weigh that knife and cut out that much steel and then forge it to where it needs to go. And I thought that's a good idea. And
that makes sense.
One of the other things that has been it's like a thought process thing, and I've watched a lot of people who primarily do forge to finish and different things like that. The big thing is trying to understand when it's time to just get your profile done and when it's time to smooth the stuff out. Because whenever I first started doing this, I would want to try and smooth while profiling, as opposed to profile, get all that stuff done, get it where it needs to go, and then kind of iron it out whenever you're done putting the stuff where it needs to go. And you waste so much time, so many heats trying to flatten things out whenever you're sitting there on
So you want to get it
your
where
horn
it
and
needs to
your
go. Yeah.
Yeah, because you're sitting there and you're like you're beating the absolute crap out of it to try and extend your steel lengthwise or widthwise, and then you're thinking, well, I got to flatten it back out. No, just put it back in the forge. Start moving the material out wherever you're going to put it. Put it back in the forge, then take it out. Continue lengthening it or widening it, and then whenever you kind of get it to where you want it, then start finalizing it. But it's cool. This last little one that I did, the Gaiuto chef's knife, that was where that learning experience came in, and I had a blast making that knife. It's so sharp, it's ridiculous.
I love
that's what I've been working on.
that natural. Yeah, I love that natural hammered finish. It's really good, and make sure that we really tell people, hey, go out and take a look at the knives on his the Rivers experience and see what he's been making, because to be able to set and hammer that steel out into a knife shaped object and then refine it is really truly a knife, and then just sharpen the edge because you've already hammered it, bevels and everything. The shape is just amazing. So you've taken it up a notch, my friend, and it's really cool to see that stuff. So, hey, speaking of, you were talking about forging, so let's take a second because I've got a great forge to tell you guys about.
Majestic Forge is owned and operated by Brian and Kayla Horn in Rushville, Ohio. With many years of experience manufacturing 2 to 5 burner gas forges, Majestic Forge is your #1 source for blacksmith forges, farrier forges, and specialty forges. They are dedicated to creating top-of-the-line forges at a price you can afford. Majestic Forge has supplied forges to blacksmith schools, high schools, colleges, production shops, and TV shows such as Mythbusters. And Majestic Forge is the forge of choice for televisions forged in fire. Knife makers are in luck as they offer forges that come with 2 or 3 deluxe burners. Here at Knives Templars, we are sure that you can find a USA-made Majestic Forge to suit your needs. Check out your next forge at majesticforge.com.
All right. Well, welcome back. I tell you what, I've got some exciting news. We partnered up with our folks over at Pop's Knife Supplies, and we are excited to have a guest on tonight by the name of Mr. Andy Griffing, who is from Ludington, Michigan, and makes some of the most beautiful knives we've seen out on the Rivers Experience Facebook page, as well as finding him over on Instagram at Deer Creek Knives. So if you guys are listening, you can check out Deer Creek Knives on Instagram, but also welcome, Andy. Welcome to the show.
Hey, thanks for having me, Chip and Eric and the guys. It's kind of a pleasure to be here.
Yeah, we were going to have you on. We actually, when we first put together the Knives Templars, we asked if you wanted to be a Knives Templar because we were so darn impressed with what you did and just what a friendly person you were, and also being a fellow Michigander, even though I'm down here in Alabama now, it was quite a connect. But I will say, when I asked, how about those Red Wings, and you were like, I don't really follow sports, I was kind of like, okay, well then.
Yeah.
You're totally into the outdoors and knife making and working with metals and stuff, aren't you?
Absolutely. Yeah. I love hammering on steel. I do it all day long, and then I come home and do it some more.
So what do you do during the day?
I'm an auto body technician.
Also, you definitely got what it takes to put a piece of steel where you want it to be.
Yeah, I kind of enjoy it.
Well, that explains it, because I've been watching some of the forging and stuff you do, and I've been super amazed with it. And you're basically taking some of the same concepts. I don't guess you're working with heated steel in auto body, but you're certainly applying some of those aspects to moving the steel for knives, aren't you?
Yeah, pretty much. I mean, moving steel's moving steel. You just kind of got to listen to it, and it'll tell you exactly what you need to do if you pay attention and listen to what it tells you.
So that's my problem. I just don't listen.
Yeah, you just kind of listen to what it wants, and
yeah. Well, I know being on the west side of the state of Michigan, it is so beautiful up there. We had friends that had a cabin over there. We used to go to and visit quite often, just right there at Ludington. Um, and I haven't decided if your knives are beautiful or if just the backgrounds that you have are beautiful, because it's just a paradise up there as far as in the summer months or the fall or the winter. You've just always got these perfect places to put knives to take pictures.
Absolutely. I mean, it's God's country. There's no doubt about it. I mean, we have all 4 seasons, and it's just enjoyable to be here, tucked back in the woods, and it just gives you a lot of different opportunities.
Yeah, yeah. Well, hey, your knives are beautiful, and again, people should go out and look at your knives on Deer Creek Knives on Instagram and see the beauty of what you can do with steel. But tell us a bit about where you came from. You're not originally from Ludington, are you?
No, originally I was born and raised in the Detroit metro area, and had enough of the big city life. And about 30 years ago, moved the family to Ludington, and we've been here ever since. And we really, really enjoy it, and it's a good place to raise kids, and it's a good, healthy environment.
Oh, it's gorgeous over there, and you're right about being a healthy environment. Nancy, my wife, and I always said that if we had to move somewhere else in Michigan, that Ludington we just loved it, especially with the ferries coming in and the beaches and Lake Michigan. And so what I lived in Sterling Heights, Royal Oak, and Clarkston, Michigan. Where did you come from in the Detroit area?
Livonia, Farmington Hills, Redford area.
Oh yeah, I know those areas very well. So. You ever still get back over that way at all?
Every now and then. We try not to get down there too much. Kind of crazy.
Yeah. I know Jason Fry went over there and visited, and I hooked him up with a fishing buddy of mine. Got a day out on Lake St. Clair catching some smallmouth bass with Mr. Smallmouth Scott Dobson himself. But
it's quite a day.
Was it a day? Because we haven't talked to you since.
No, you haven't. Yeah, so I had never been smallmouth fishing before. I had never been smallmouth fishing before, and Chip hooked me up with one of the top smallmouth fishermen in the
Scott,
world. And we went out and whacked him, and he was unhappy because we didn't whack him to his standards, and it's super epic. So
you came back with shredded thumbs and your hands smelling like fish, and you've been fighting little brown footballs all day, meaning smallmouth bass.
That's how it should be.
Oh, it was gorgeous. It was gorgeous.
Yeah, it's nice.
How'd you get started making knives, Andy?
I actually built my first knife when I was about 12 years old with my father in Boy Scouts. And I've just always created things and liked making things and keep busy building cars and always been interested in making knives and getting close to retiring, and thought this might be a good little side hobby. Keep me out of trouble, keep me moving, keep me off the rocking chair.
Yeah, they call it my side hustle. I'm sure we've all got a similar term for it. But it is nice because it's the margins on selling a knife. You're selling a piece of artwork. I don't care what people want to call it, tool artwork or whatever. Once you develop something, gosh, your work certainly speaks to it. Something like that, they're easy to sell and they're darn worth the money. And they're just something that somebody said one time, how can you call this an heirloom? It's just a knife. And I just don't believe that. I think that if you make something that's held and treasured by somebody, and typically what we do is, those are heirlooms and things that can last forever, or certainly as forever as far as our minds can stretch out. But everything I've seen has resembled an heirloom to me.
Yeah, it just you put your time and soul into each piece, and it's part of your life that's in the blade, So
Have you made your wife a knife for the kitchen yet?
No, my wife does not care for sharp, pointy things. my daughter has a couple of knives that I've built for her, but yeah, the wife sticks with the dull butter knives,
I got you. So let's see here: unicorns, rockets, knives. No,
yeah,
don't.
yeah, yeah.
So are you selling your knives? Are you? How do you move your knives?
Every now and then I'll sell a knife, and a lot of times I give them away as just gifts, and if I can,
right.
I'm at the point, and if I can recover what I've got invested in the knife, I don't really look to make money. I enjoy people, and getting pleasure out of owning a piece of me, I guess. So
for sure.
Maybe someday, we'll turn it into a profitable gig.
Well, I know Ludington has a beautiful, or they did 15 years ago. Always had a great summer festival there where people came into town.
Yeah, absolutely. Here in Ludington, up in Manistee, down in Pentwater, all up and down the lakeshore. Possibly after retirement. Start doing some shows and see where that goes.
You'll have to go out and get you a canvas or one of those what do you call it, shelters?
Yeah.
Expanding shelters, and get you a couple tables from the Home Depot and an apron and start selling, because I have a feeling it'd be pretty easy, especially with the number of deer hunters and outdoorsmen in the state of Michigan. I don't think you'd ever run out of customers up there.
It's enjoyable to build a knife and give it to somebody, and they send you back photos of them actually using it, and that's pretty rewarding. It's good enough for me.
Yeah. So Detroit was part of the Rust Belt. As far as cars these days, cars still rusting out from under you in Michigan, or they come a long way with the steels and how they're treated?
No, they rust like always. It's great.
Do they? Oh,
yeah.
Who was it? Who was it that used to sell they used to spray the bottom of your car?
Yeah, Z-Bar, Rusty Jones, yeah, all those kind of places.
Z-Bar,
sure. Yeah.
Yeah. So those still exist up there?
Yeah. It's a thing, you know.
Okay. Yeah. It builds a nice membrane for your car to rust out underneath that coating.
Absolutely.
It's kind of like one time I was in Michigan and I had a guy who basically he had duct taped his whole car together. I mean, like all of the outer body parts. And he always said that it was so rusty, if he removed any of that tape, that it would just fall off. And it was really, he had duct taped it, and it was just kind of comical to look at, and he drove it around. But he just said, hey, if I take it.
Get you down the road.
Yeah. Yeah, what would we do without duct tape, right?
Yeah, well, you'll appreciate this because I think Red Green is. Do you ever watch the Red Green show, or is he retired up there?
What's that?
The Red Green show. That's a Canadian show, but everybody in Michigan watches it. Are you familiar with the Red Green show? Oh wow. Well, you're just going to go find it on the internet. Over on the Detroit side, it was just a funny, goofy little Canadian show. It was called Red Green, and he wore red and green suspenders and everything. So, anyway, that was it. So, so what are your plans for the future of your knife making? You said something about retiring. Are you going to continue to expand your shop, or maybe expand out to a web page, or are you just going to kind of let it flow and how it's going?
Yeah,
right now?
That's kind of the plan. I keep adding equipment and stuff like that, and just perfecting the processes and getting used to it more. And a website might be in the future, but I like the idea of maybe traveling around doing some shows for sure. That's kind of what I'm thinking.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah, for sure. Don, that's what you ought to be doing, some
shows this coming year. I got a question for Andy, though. Number one, you do nice work on your knives. And number two, I love the scenery where you live at. It's beautiful up there. And number three, do you know Gentry Custom Knives?
Oh, yeah,
Matt
absolutely.
Gentry? Do you live over close to where he's at?
I'm probably about 2 hours away from him. He's over near the middle of the state, I do believe, and appreciate the compliment, and for sure the scenery here is, it's called Deer Creek Knives, and Deer Creek literally runs 20 yards behind my shop. It boils right up out of the ground on our property and creates a creek, which flows into a main creek, which inevitably ends up in the North Bayou of Hamlin Lake, which is right off the shores of Lake Michigan. So it's right in my backyard. Yeah. Those pictures that you see are my backyard.
Yeah, it's beautiful. Beautiful.
Oh, it's gorgeous. How many Bigfoots have you seen there?
Oh,
Andy?
We don't have Bigfoots here. We have dogmen.
Huh. Oh, well, how many dogmen you saw?
There's 3.
3?
Yes.
Cool.
Yes.
Cool. Well, then I'm thinking now that we're going to have the instead of hey, do you have a pool?
A pool?
Well, you got Lake Michigan. I'm just wondering where to have the first annual Shegman Niver outdoor extravaganza and get together with everybody that's been on the show.
I don't have a pool, but we have dogmen, and we have a creek. You can swim in the creek.
I think. Hey, Don, would you be okay with going to Michigan?
Probably not.
I thought you would say as long as it keeps you out of my pool.
Listen, Donna, if you drive to Georgia, I'll drive the rest of the way.
I'll tell you what I'll do. I'll drive to Georgia. You can drive me to Michigan.
Exactly.
There you go. We may have to come up and do that. Ludington is gorgeous,
yeah,
guys.
Ludington's awesome.
Hey, do you shop at Pops?
I have in the past, not a whole lot. A lot of my materials are recycled, and I get real creative on, finding different items that I can use. My lanyard tubes are made out of carbon fiber arrow shafts.
Wow.
Cool.
Most of my pin stock, if I'm doing scales, which I usually do through tang, I'll use plastic and nylon welding rod for my pin materials. All my woods and steels are, recycled materials.
So you have a tendency that if somebody comes in and they're getting a car repaired, it's like, I don't think they'll miss this spring.
Yeah, correct.
I need some 5160.
I'll take a section of their leaf spring and put 2 pieces of it back, and
they won't miss 6 inches.
The duct tape.
Well, fortunately enough, you've got enough cars that are probably coming in that you have to take some busted parts off that you can probably get a little bit here or there if you need to.
Yes, absolutely. We come up with all kinds of things.
If you don't do that, the scrap man gets it, right?
Correct.
There you go. I have a friend that owns a service station, and I literally could have 1,000 pounds of leaf spring right now if I would just take it. And I have to keep turning him down right now because I've got so much leaf spring in my shop that I don't have room for any more of it. So, and he says it just goes to the scrap man if you don't take it. So anyway, it's good to see you recycling like that.
Yeah, it's fun to try to make something out of something that would normally get thrown away.
Well, even from the beauty of your knives, it's that makes it even more cool to sit and talk to you that you're doing all that recycling and the way you're doing those things, because I would have never guessed that you're recycling the way you say you are to make those objects.
Yeah.
It's gorgeous.
Well, thank you.
Andy, where can we find your knives? I want to see some of your work. Not only myself, but hopefully the listeners out there as well.
Deer Creek Knives on Instagram. And even on my Facebook page. Those are the only 2 places that I'm out there right now.
You got a good look. You got a good looking logo, by the way.
Oh yes, I do. I know the guy that made that logo.
Must be one kind of a really cool guy.
It's a one of a kind logo for sure. Absolutely.
No, I was so impressed with Andy, and that I threw together a logo for him way back when, and he just loved it and was so appreciative. And I was like, if I had known he was going to be that appreciative, I would have spent more time on it. But it does actually look pretty good. So
it's actually perfect,
I was impressed. So I tell you what, I do want to thank you for coming on tonight. And I want to reiterate, guys, if you want to see some beautiful knives, go out to Deer Creek Knives and see what Andy's making out there on the internet. Or if you're on Facebook, you can look up Deer Creek Knives and see his page there and friend him and get in and see what he does, because he is a true American craftsman. He is the epitome of what we are trying to do as far as knife making goes, and that is to celebrate people at all levels. Somebody with Andy's advanced skills, or somebody that's just starting out, or a Jason Fry who's making a battleship tweezers, toothpicks. What was it?
All of that, yeah.
All of that.
Butter
All of
knives.
that. Jason makes everything, and he makes it cool. But hey, Andy, thank you so much for coming on the Templars tonight. So we got to take our quick vote, guys. Is Andy? He's in our chat group now. So here's the vote. Is he a knife Templar? We'll go around.
Yes.
Don.
Oh, yeah.
Luke Berry.
Oh, he has my vote. I'm here looking at his stuff now, and it is very clean.
Does it think you think you can copy that? Is that what you're?
No. I'm pretty, in my niche of design.
He's got a cool niche, so I don't know if I could copy
He
that.
does, yeah.
The Rivers Experience, award-winning knife maker Eric Rivers. What do you have to say?
Well, I've liked his knives for a really long time, and I've been able to see him for a while. So I'd say absolutely yes, and definitely keep posting them things because you do a really good job, man.
So even before he was an award-winning knife maker, he liked your knives, just so you know.
Very good.
And finally, were you on some TV show or something, Jason?
They let me play a knife maker on TV once, yeah.
Oh,
yeah.
Were you? Yeah,
Forged in Fire
or something like that, Jason. You got those kind of. Yeah, pretty fry for a knife guy. Hey, Jason, we gonna let him in?
Seems like a good idea.
He's a Templar.
All right.
Andy, you have a blessed day. Thank you for coming on the Knives Templars, and you're a Templar, and you can come on anytime. We'd love to have you back.
Appreciate it, guys. Anytime, just reach out. I'm always hanging around.
Sounds good. You have a blessed day, and make sure you're 100% uploaded, and we'll see you on another episode of the Knives Templars. You're one of us.
Thanks again, guys. Take care.
Have a good night.
See you.
Yes,
friend.
sir. Pleasure to meet
Bye-bye.
you.
You too.
Hey guys, he's pretty good at what he does, isn't he? I mean, people are listening right now are going to have to go out and see his Instagram page. But I tell you what, he is true Michigander. When I sit and listen to him talk and everything, he sounds like the accent and just the attitude of people up there. They are such good people, even when they're not good people, because they've been in snow for the last 9 weeks and it won't go away, and it's starting to turn black on top from all the tires. They're some of the best people around. So I've enjoyed getting to know Andy over the last several months, and I'm glad he had a chance to come on our show. Let's take a moment and talk about our friends over at Pop's Knife Supplies.
Pop's Knife Supply was started 40 years ago and is owned by 4 professional knife makers. Andy Roy of Fiddleback Forge, Alan Searles of W.A. Searles Knives, Joey Berry of JB Knife Works, and Dirk Lutz of Dirk Lutz Knives make a great team of owners carrying on the traditions and business started by James Poplin. Over 4 decades in business is a testament to the best customer service with same-day shipping on weekdays. Pops only charges actual shipping, and any shipping differences are refunded on your orders. Everything you need to make knives, from grinding, steel, pin stock, heat treating, and more, can be found at Pops. Visit them at popsknife.supplies. And now, back to the show.
You've just got a little bit of a delay, Eric. That's all it is tonight.
I like my delay.
Bless
my
your
delay's,
heart.
It's unique.
Yep,
That way,
we've learned to live with
keeps
it.
you on your toes.
But I will tell you, you did do one of these. You were doing something and you froze like that, and we were all like, "No, don't attack, don't attack." So,
Chip,
anyway.
thanks to you, man. I will now only refer to Eric as award-winning knife maker Eric Rivers. That's awesome.
Jeez.
Of course. And then followed it up, "Hey Eric, if you ain't first, you're last."
Oh no!
Right? Right?
Eric,
You better believe it.
Eric, that was that was a first place knife. I don't care what anybody says. You come on the Knives Templars knife making contest, I guarantee you, me as the judge, you will win that award.
Well, I appreciate
Nobody else
that.
is allowed to judge. I really don't. Hey, let me explain that. I don't carry anyone else's knives. I've got a prize knife that a friend of mine gave me this past year, and I'll treasure it forever. But I do not carry and I do not collect other people's knives. It's just I do my own stuff. And that may sound, I don't know why I'm that way, because I love the heck out of other people's stuff. I love to see it and hold it and this, that, and the other, but it's my own. But that particular knife, I would keep it. Yep, I would take it and I would mount it. I would mount it under some museum glass and put it on a wall and put your name on it and a little gold plaque, because I've never felt that way about a knife. I'm pining for that knife.
Well, thank you for that.
Eric says this is definitely. Eric says this is. He says this is getting.
It was a lot of work.
He says this is getting freaky. I don't want to talk about that knife anymore. Yeah, getting freaky. Well, how about some questions, guys?
Let's do it.
You want to do some questions?
Hey, so I do want to hit on one thing whenever we hit the questions.
Sure.
So we could wrap it up with it, or we could start with it. But whatever.
We can start with it. Go ahead if you're ready.
Okay, so this is something that it's a little bit off topic, but on topic.
All right.
So with different knives that I've made in the past, I get comments on all kinds of different videos and things like that. I've been making knives on YouTube for almost 3 years, and you have videos that you released over 2 years ago that you're doing completely different processes now versus what you did then and all that. So every once in a while, somebody will comment on an old video and go, you know what? That's not how you really make a knife. You can't just grind out a knife. You can't just grind in the bevels and heat treat it and say you made a knife. You got to forge it and do all these things and everything. And that's how you make a knife. You're just acting like you're a knife maker. And so my question is, do y'all think, and I know where this is going to go to, do you think that you have to forge a knife in order to be a knife maker?
I think you have to forge a knife if you want to forge a knife. There you go.
My answer is no. I don't think so. It adds a little more character to it, and it's more adds more steps to it than stock removal. So there are more steps that you can mess up along the way. So I would say that you might be more skilled if you forge it, because there's a lot more intricate parts that you can mess up. But I don't think you have to forge to be a knife maker. No.
Jason, you're going to have to unmute yourself.
Yeah, we can.
We can't.
Sure, what I was saying was great. No, I totally don't think you have to forge to be a knife maker. I started out stock removal just because that's the tools I had. Now I forge also, and in my mind, just forging gives you a lot more chances to screw it up. So if you come out with a really clean product that you also forged, yeah, bonus points to you, man. That's great. That's great. But if it wasn't a knife until you made it, then stock removal is still knife making.
Yeah. I used to, one of my past careers, I was the executive director for Walla Walla Pottery and Crafts. And
is that like underwater basket weave?
Of course you were, Chip.
We always talk
Walla Walla.
We always talk about my resume. No, but I have done pottery in the past, and just as craftsy, and can I do this? And it's nothing. I never sold pottery, Eric. I never had a web page. I never did this. I just made a bowl or 12 with moose dung, charcoal. But here's the point I'm going to make though. I can go to Hobby Lobby and I can buy a brick of clay that's already been refined in this, that, and the other. Or when I lived in North Carolina or here in Alabama, I can go find a clay bank, and I can dig that clay and I can set and clean it and refine it and work it into a malleable product to set and make a piece of pottery with it. At the end of the day, I've still got a beautiful piece of pottery that my mother would love. We'll put it that way. But I've still got a piece of pottery. So whether you forge the steel into a knife or whether you grind the steel into a knife from you're still looking for the ultimate one. I think just makes you have some more depth in your craft is all it is. And salute to the guys who forge, regularly, but it's just another skill set. I'm sorry, Don, go ahead.
I've been selling my tools off here in the last week, and every time, I call one of my guys I know and tell them I'm retiring out of wood turning. And the first thing they say, well, what are you doing now? I said, I'm making custom made knives. Oh, really? Like forged on fire? Yeah. I said, no, on forged
the
on
first,
fire.
yeah.
And then when they came over, they go, hey, man, where's your anvil at? Where's your forge at? And I think a lot of people get that idea that if you're stock removal, you're really not making a knife because of that show. And that show is really, gave an audience to a lot of new knife makers. And so I think Forged and Fire has been great for the knife making community. I mean, it's been awesome,
but it really has changed. It's changed a lot of the perspectives too. I mean,
I think it highlights
you
the
can
one
do
aspect.
all that in 3 hours, right? Like that's how it's
yeah.
But regarding Forged in Fire, though, if you want, not regarding that, regarding being a journeyman or a mastersmith, don't you have to forge all of your knives that you submit for your journeyman?
You do.
So
yes,
I mean,
all have to be forged.
Yeah. So I mean, it's just it's an advanced skill set. You're getting into metallurgy, and go ahead, Eric.
So the way that I typically talk to people about this, and I wanted to hear what y'all had to say with it. And the advice that I like to give people is, if you want to forge a knife, forge a knife. If you want to do stock removal, do stock removal. My journey in knife making is trying to try all of the things. I want to be able to forge. I want to be able to do stock removal. You have people that are fantastic at forging knives, but are horrible at grinding knives. You have people that
True.
are amazing at grinding knives and horrible at forging knives. And it's one of those things, the end goal is to be able to get to the end goal. Whether you're going to forge it, whether you're going to grind it, you're trying to make a knife. And I do think that people have a false sense of what knife making is because they hear someone, a judge, on a show like Forged in Fire, however it may be, who will say, this isn't grind in fire, this is forged in fire, or something like that. And even though those judges make a ton of stock removal knives and a ton of CNC knives and a ton of things that are made on machines, because they're knife makers who have to make a living, and sometimes you just got to do it.
Well, let me ask you this. I'm asking this on behalf of my friend Dustin O'Hara. Is a wooden sword any less of a sword than a metal sword? Because the man makes some gorgeous wooden swords for Renaissance festivals.
Depends on what you're trying to accomplish.
I have always been told that.
Well, I think they both will kill if you use them in the right manner. I wouldn't after I killed a deer, I wouldn't try just hang it over the fire on my sword while I was cooking it, because it may eventually fall in. That's all. Man makes some beautiful wooden swords and knives. But dunk.
I was going to let Luke go.
Flat, Eric. You're just sitting there pondering that. But while you are, how do I answer that?
No, when it comes to a wood sword or something like that, it depends on what your goal is. Back in the days when they made swords out of bronze and did all kinds of stuff. I mean, there's all kinds of things that happened in the past, and ways that they made things. You wouldn't think of stone knives or anything like that until you see stone knives and you're like, oh, that's a stone knife. But the way that I look at it, again, it's all about the journey and what you want to do within knife making. Not everybody has amazing elbows, not everybody has amazing hands, and sometimes swinging a 2.5, 4. Hell, the main hammer that I use to forge with is a 5-pound rounding hammer. You put that in somebody's hand that has a horrible elbow, they're going to be done in 20 minutes. It just depends on your journey of what you want to do as a knife maker, and just not letting people tell you you're not a knife maker because you ground out the knife because all you had was an angle grinder and you wanted to make a knife. So you used an angle grinder, you did your thing. The big thing is, did you heat treat it right? Can it hold an edge? Is it ergonomically correct? Is it comfortable for people to hold? Stuff like that. That's making a knife.
Right.
It just has to be something that someone can utilize as a good tool. And people getting lost in the sauce
Eric's
with
going on an Otis.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Eric's going on an Otisir
baby.
rant. Eric's gone full Otisir on us tonight.
Hey,
He asked this question knowing that he had exactly what he needed to say in mind.
he was
I
waiting.
just
Yeah.
sometimes
Yeah, he was.
that's the number one troll comment on almost all these people's videos that trying to make a knife with simple tools. The number one trolled comment is you didn't forge it.
Can we take a vote though? Does Eric sound like a mad mama Karen at a school board meeting in somewhere in Northern Virginia?
You better believe it.
Just
we just care.
Just care.
He cares, and we all care. Yeah,
he does, and that's what makes Eric special. Matter of fact, let's talk about the Rivers experience. We'll be right back. Hey guys, what was your source of inspiration when you first decided to make knives? Many go to the books and also some go to the web, but many also head to YouTube for videos. Well, we are fortunate enough to have Eric Rivers from the Rivers Experience as a co-host on the Knives Templars. But you know what? He's also a sponsor. And I tell you, 27,000 followers can't be wrong in following his skilled and educational regular videos that teach the fine arts of making beautiful knives. I know because I'm a subscriber to his channel and I learned at my pace and without making those mistakes by walking in the dark regarding knife making. Be sure and check out his channel, The Rivers Experience, on YouTube, or his website at theriversexperience.com. And now back to our show. All right, welcome back. How you feeling, Eric?
I'm feeling good.
You good? You good? Get you a glass of water?
Oh yeah.
All right. Hey, but you know what? It's good. It's good because this world is so full of people that it's kind of like you were talking about YouTube comments. You got people out there that are constantly throwing out negative comments, and it's kind of like what I said before. You walk through a town, and Ricky Gervais or whatever his name, however you pronounce it, it's his joke. You walk into a town and you see a sign that says free guitar lessons, and you yell out, "I don't want any free guitar lessons!" And it's like, you know what? Then they're just not for you. Just keep on walking. So with that being said, there's always people wanting to throw out a negative comment here or there, or to put something down. And you're a great teacher, and most knife makers are. Especially people I've seen associated with your site and other knife making sites. I know Jason's got a Facebook group as well. And you're always going to have those people out there that want to set themselves apart through their word rather than letting their product speak for it. And not that they're not great knife makers. It's just there's no reason to really set yourself apart. Just do your thing and promote harmony, promote stewardship. And promote learning. And I tell you what, on your last day, people have a lot of great things to say about you. I was told one time that somebody can say your last day on earth. I was told one time somebody said that people can say 3 things about you: something good, something bad, or nothing at all. And 2 of them aren't good. So we want people to say good things about us. And there's one way to go about that. Eric, I think you're earning that. It's good to see your colors come back, though. You were awful red there for a minute. So anyway, I know that Jason, living over there in Texas, he stepped off camera for a minute. Jason got to make sure all those things upload. But were you just going to make sure that you had plenty of clips and everything was loaded in case Eric went full crazy? He was going to get his.
He was
cavalry.
calling backup. Yeah,
he was getting his cavalry swords. Hey guys, I know the answer to this, and Ron H. Sent us in my single question this week, and he says, "Hello, Templars. We are the Templars now." Listen to that. He says, "I'm using 1095 for the first time, and following cleanup after my heat treat, I have what appears to be almost like blisters on the blades. These appear to be super hard, making it difficult to remove the grinder marks. I used a heat treat. I used a heat treat oven and quenched in canola oil. The oil may be have been close to 150 degrees instead of 130. Is this decarb? It seems pretty deep, but does reduce with continued grinding, though I'm getting pretty close to the final thickness for these blades." I know what he did wrong, and it's okay because it's a learning step, but what did he do wrong, guys? He's getting bumps in his 1095 after he heat treats it. He overheated that steel. Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
He left it in for too long. He's getting blistering. And
I used to wonder. Yeah, when I used to use my cowboy forge, and I would leave that steel down in there, and it would get real yellow when I in areas, especially around the thinner areas. I would always end up with these little bubbly looking blisters in it, look like little clouds, and I would have to sand them back out. And it was just overheating the knife, overheating the steel. You're right. So when I got my Majestic Forge, all that changed because I can now set it over and let it soak at a constant temperature. But it's just being able to maintain.
Did you say he had an oven? He used the oven.
He says,
"Yeah, carbon steel in the oven."
Yeah, he says I used a heat treat oven. Yeah.
I would. Yeah.
So one of the things that I wouldn't suggest. Okay, so a lot of people suggest that people who are newer knife makers to do 1095 for some weird reason. The fact that he's got an oven and he's using canola oil
because it's readily available. It's readily available on Amazon.
But there's so many cheap steels available everywhere. So what I'm saying here is, a lot of people suggest 1095, and I always try and tell people, do not use that as your first steel. And for one, 1095 is pretty finicky in general. I would not suggest, don't. And again, here's another one of my rants. Don't watch people on YouTube dip it in canola oil. I wouldn't use peanut oil. I love peanut oil. Peanut oil, motor oil, all these different oils. Use good knife oil. Use your AAA. Use your Parks 50.
Doesn't 1095 require Parks 50? Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yep.
You just got to use that 8670.
Yeah, Pop's 8670.
I put that 8670 all over everything.
It's the only carbon steel I use. Well, I use two carbon steels, and that's my 95% 8670.
What percentage of steel do you sell, say 8670 to everything else?
When we have 8670 in stock.
Right. That's all you're selling?
Probably 75%. I mean, it's a majority.
Are you the guy that wraps up all that steel for shipment too in little?
Between Dusty and myself, yes, I am the guy that unloads all of the steel. So in one way or the other, I have produced it to you because we get 7,000 pounds.
You wrapped it in the cardboard and then wrapped it up with the stretch wrap and all that and sent it to me.
Oh yeah.
I would say you did a really nice job. I had one hell of a crappy time getting into that 1/4-inch steel today, just so you know. But for shipping, it was good. It was good.
It's not going to come apart on you. It's not going to warp during shipping.
No, that's not at all. Hey, listen, here's what I would tell our buddy Ron. What he needs to do is he needs to go over to New Jersey Steel Bearing, unless you guys have got it, Luke. Well, listen to me here, Luke. I know that New Jersey Steel Bearing has all the recipes for heat treating steel available there, and you can get to them real easy. Does Pops have something similar?
Yeah, 678-889-5160, Monday to Friday from 9 to 5. You can call up and speak with one of our representatives, all of which are knife-minded. Any sort of steel you want any information on, whether it be heat treat, any information. We're all knife-minded people. We're happy to answer any sort of questions, that being heat treat information as well.
Do you have any downloadable information as far as heat treating instructions?
Yeah.
On our website, I believe. All of the steels that we carry, there should be information on heat treat.
Okay, well then there's another perfect example. So yeah, if you tend just to follow those recipes to a T, you don't end up with any issues. I think it's just beginner knife making in 1095.
Yeah,
and I've successfully
got one more
used
thing on that too.
Oh, here he goes again.
It's a small one. It's a small one. I'm kind of sick and tired of everybody thinking that you got to temper everything at 400 degrees for 2 hours times 2.
No.
Not every still requires 400 degrees, but you see it constantly that you got to do it at 400 degrees. It's 400 degrees. No,
it'll be too soft.
Yeah, pay attention to your recipes. Yeah. Follow the recipes. People put years worth of work into figuring out how these steels heat treat. Just follow them. Save yourself
Luke,
some time.
Is that 8670? Is it 15 minutes at 380 degrees? Tell me it is, because I would love to.
Our recipe that we have determined is going to be the best for performance is going to be 2-hour soaks at 350 degrees. It leaves it hard, but at around 61 to 63 on the Rockwell test, it performs great at that hardness.
Holds an edge too.
That's what I do with mine.
Yeah, I need to.
Go ahead, Don.
Anybody's using carbon steel in the oven, I would definitely recommend Nuclear 2000 and put a coat on there.
No scale.
You don't have to worry about it too much in the forge, but when you go to that oven, that will help. That'll help keep that carbon right. So in the steel. So
we're running low. We just put in an order today.
Well, then Pinto can't argue, because I've got that big giant chunk of 1/4 inch 8670. When I start having to forge it down to thickness, it's like, Pinto, it's out of necessity, man. It's out of necessity. That's all right. I'll just go on Amazon and get some 1095. I'll be fine.
Oh.
Yeah, why not?
Hey, who is it that sells that? Mr. Fire or Mr. something? I don't know what it was.
The Mr. Volcano?
Mr. Volcano.
Yeah.
And honestly, I think it is that, hey, I bought my first steel on Amazon because it's click, click, click. Hey, I got knife supplies coming. And I used a lot of 1095 in the beginning. So, I hear what you're saying about it, because when I started using other steels, quality improved dramatically all the way around.
And I want them to think about this: the fact that you were using 1095 in a coal forge. you were cracking me up.
Creating bumpy steel.
It's going to come out looking like a banana.
You better quit laughing at me, guys. I'm sad. No, actually,
you got to use what you got.
Hey, it was great learning, and it was cheap, and I was using carbon steel, but it is what it is. But yeah, 1095 is not something I would necessarily go to now.
Now, don't get us wrong. When 1095 is done correctly, it is a very quality steel. But getting it to the point of it being done correctly, it takes a lot of experience, and I'm not going to use it. But for those that know how to use it, good job.
Good deal. Well, guys, that puts us right at 2 hours and 25 seconds. So we're going to shut it down. We are tickled that you joined us on the Knives Templars for our 19th episode. And we want you to hang in there and see us for number 20, because we're going to be maybe talking about a knife maker's challenge, and we'll let you know more about that. Is everybody in on that, Eric and Don and Luke? Jason?
I say we got to do the petty knife. We have to do the petty knife.
I'm not going to do that to people, but we'll come up with something that's not too drastic, because I want everybody to be able to contribute. So it won't be anything super fancy or anything. Maybe it's just, create something of a certain length, or this, that, and the other. Anyway, to find out more about that, check us out on the next Knife Templars. Good night.
Tranquility Base here. The Eagle has landed.
Well, guys, the after show. Yeah. We did it again. We're off, we're on. I'm going to spend all day tomorrow piecing you guys together that can't hold an internet connection.
For once, it wasn't me.
For once, it wasn't
me. No desk pops, no chair farts, nothing.
And I don't mean that in a bad way. I'm being funny, but it's always something. Eric's getting blown around by a tornado. Last podcast, it was like, wow, Eric has got it all worked out. And then tonight, he's like, Eric doesn't know. I wish I could show him the videos, but he's sitting there talking. And like I said, all of a sudden, it's like, and we're just sitting there
looking like Landos, just frozen in rock.
Chip,
there he
you
goes
cut
again.
out quite a few times too tonight. You went dark, and
I can.
You kind of broke up a lot right there on your end.
Well, that's your connection, Don. It's not mine. No, it's just the way it works. Hey, the good news is that when you guys get off, make sure it says 100%. And you guys that have popped off and on a couple times, 3 times, just make sure all of your recordings say uploaded. That way I'll be able to grab them all and I'll be able to get them. Otherwise, I can't grab them because they have to finish on that side. So if I don't see them, I may send you a little email or an instant message with a link in it to help continue that download. So it's not a big deal. Jason Fry, I hope to get to know you a lot better. You are a really cool dude. Not even just knife making. I kind of like the way you think about things, and you'd be a great next door neighbor if you didn't mind hanging out with an old man sometimes.
I like the way you talk.
Well, I'm not from North Georgia. Like Luke, you have to understand they made the movie Deliverance from up where Luke Perry lives. But
I'll
honestly,
be the star in Deliverance too.
Brought to you by Porkhouse Productions. Oinky oinky oinky.
As knife makers, we all know the importance of quality handle material. Something that's both tough yet beautiful will increase the value of your knives and allow you to build something that your customers will love. When it comes to the handle material for my knives, I choose Swikowski Scales. Run by Sarah Halpane and her mentor Alex Swikowski, they have a combined 20 years experience making handles and knives. They offer stabilized burls, exotic hardwoods, vintage micartas, and some of the best segmented scales in the business. Find them on Instagram at Swikowski Scales or on their website, swikowskiscales.com. That's SWIECZKOWSKI Scales.com.